Explore the history of the East Bay.
Cody's Caravan is live getting a lesson on Contra Costa County this morning.
I am indeed. And by the way, thank you for that recap of the game because, as you know, I fell asleep at halftime. Okay, this is Mary Johnson. Mary, thank you for having Sharon, I'm sorry. Sharon, thanks for having us out this morning. So let's start with Knightson. How did it become the town of Knightson?
Well, it became the town of Knightson because George Knight, whose picture is right here, he donated land to make the train station in Knightson. And as you know, if you have a train station, you're going to have a town. Yeah. And his wife's maiden name was Christensen. And they combined his name, Knight, with the last part of her maiden name, Christensen, to make the name Knightson.
So there you go. Now we know. Now we know. So this house that we're in right now, this is the nail house?
It's called the Byre Nail House. It was originally built to be a boarding house, but that didn't happen because the railroad, as planned, didn't go through here where Sellers Avenue is now. The Byre family bought the house, and then they raised their daughters here, sons, and then one of their grandchildren, Zelma Nail, her picture's right up there, she and her husband bought the house from one of her aunts. And James Nail lived here until he passed away in 1984. And then his son's family, the Nail family, the Clella Nail family, donated the house to the Historical Society. One of his daughters, Lorraine, lives in Davis now, and she was one of my very good friends growing up as a child.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Let's look around. Show me around a little bit. This is such a good museum. I'm telling you, I love a good museum, and this is a fantastic museum. So what are we looking at here?
This is the dining room, and we showcase, pardon me, we showcase entertainment through the years in East Contra Costa County. And we have the hotels, which were big. They're each town, well, some of the towns all had a hotel. And we are paying tribute right now to the Brentwood Hotel, which was, if anyone knows Brentwood, it's where the Chevron station is now.
Oh, okay.
And so there was the original hotel, which of course burned. And then there was the second hotel, which we have pictures of, and the interior, which that one, they thought it wasn't earthquake safe. And so they thought it needed to come down, and so it took a wrecking ball 3 days to knock it down.
Did it really?
And then they built the Chevron station there. So this is a menu, a copy of the menu from their opening day, and it has, this was a meal that was going to be for the contributors and friends of the hotel, and you can see the menu items and what they had that day, and it was a free meal for them. And then as it opened, then they started charging the patrons. But this was a special meal.
I'd take an apple fritter, a pineapple fritter, and some fruit sauce. This is so beautiful. You guys open up in April 5th, right?
5th, we have our opening day.
You got to come out and see it.
Yes,
you got to
you
come
do.
out and see it.
Yes, you do.
All right, thank you for the tour. We're going to show you some other places around here. They have like some incredible old vehicles here, which I'm very excited about. But they also have a research facility that you can visit, and we'll show that to you coming up. Back to you guys.
Cody, I'm really actually intrigued because I've never even heard of Knightson. I mean, this is so new for me, and I'm from Northern California. So thank you for this history lesson this morning.
Thanks, Cody.
Yeah. The Historical Society is working hard to preserve the artifacts of East Contra Costa County.
Cody's Caravan's live in Knightson this morning, giving us a history lesson. Hey, Cody.
I am indeed, and this is one of the only times you'll get to see a mayor of a town churning butter. Right there, the mayor of Brentwood's churning butter for you this morning.
Nothing.
By the way, thank you guys for all having us out here today. This has been so amazing so far. Okay, so we gotta break this down. So you guys serve Bethel Island, Brentwood, Byron, Discovery Bay, Knightson, and Oakley, right, Doreen?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay, I got it. I got it down now. What makes this area so special?
Oh my goodness, I think there are many things that make this area so special. Number one is the people who live here, and the farmers who farmed our land for 200 years, and the people who keep that tradition going. and the towns that have arisen around that farming area that also embrace farming, and the people who love to come here because there's fresh food and wonderful people and a beautiful view.
In a beautiful view.
And let me add one more thing, and an absolutely fantastic museum.
It is a fantastic museum. You're right. It is a fantastic museum.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you're in Sacramento, you got to skip the freeway. You want to get on River Road and 160 and take that winding thing. It is the best drive. If they allowed me to drive a motorcycle, I think that's where I would ride a motorcycle. They won't let me do that.
I'm sorry.
They won't let me do that.
Because that's the only road to Sacramento as far as I'm concerned.
I know, it's
Yeah.
so gorgeous. Okay, let me go around. You guys are the ambassadors.
Yeah.
You guys go out and spread the word about this area.
Yes, so I'm the ambassador for Oakley, and so I attend events in Oakley. Like we have the Summerfest, we have the Heart of Oakley, we have the Oktoberfest, we have a talent show, and I've lived in this area for 46 years, so we've seen a lot of growth.
Yeah,
Yes.
you have, haven't you? You have a lot.
But spreading
a lot of growth.
awareness that we're all out here in the museum is for everyone, for all the communities.
It is, once again, a fantastic museum. We got our friends from Bethel Island right here. I love Bethel Island. Do I get to visit you soon?
I hope so.
Okay, Ted. I'm
We'll
coming.
be there.
Okay, I'm coming. I love Bethel Island. I think it's fascinating. We have the mayors right here. So this is the mayor of Brentwood. Please introduce yourself to the folks at home, Miss Buttermaker.
Susanna Meyer.
And then you're the mayor of
Oakley.
Oakley.
Yeah, Shannon Shaw.
So let's talk about why this is so important to keep this alive.
The Historical Society, it brings back like all the agricultural and like the history from our areas. I mean, Oakley and Brentwood, we've grown, we're turned into cities, but there are so many other communities here that maintain the farming and that small town feel. And while we are trying to preserve that within our cities as well, this really gets to bring back the history that like I moved here in 2008, so I get to see where this place came from and where Oakley grew and what we are today.
It is a fascinating area. And then Brentwood's blowing up.
Yeah, and we're
Well,
trying to
okay.
keep some control over it because most of the people in Brentwood want it to stay the way it is and hold on to the agricultural history and the legacy that we've got. Things like this, areas like this, the museum, help with that because it's community. It's bringing us all together to learn about our history so that we can preserve it, so that we can work on the things, the changes that come to the city, all respect that and hopefully honor that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Get back to your butter churning.
thank you.
That butter ain't going to churn itself.
You want to turn?
Yes, later. Okay, so coming up next, we're going to take you outside because they have an amazing collection of buggies and cars and all sorts of stuff. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Code. Appreciate it.
Check out some cool artifacts from the early days of East Contra Costa County.
Cody's Caravan live in Knightson this morning, giving us a look at some historical items.
It just keeps going and going and getting better and better. Dennis, tell us, this is really famous. If you're at the Christmas parade, Santa rides this guy.
Santa was riding up there right with me, yeah.
It's fantastic.
They restored this in about 2000, well, before I came in 2013, they restored this, and it's been running ever since. So
Now, what is this guy right here?
this is a 1926 Model T farm truck, flatbed farm truck.
Let's walk by a little bit so Sean can show some of these pictures. Because you could buy your Model T, and then you could do whatever you need to
Put
with it.
whatever bed on it that you wanted, whatever you wanted to make it into, you could put it on there.
Say if you wanted to build a small church on wheels.
There you go. Or a motorhome. Or a motorhome.
That's so
Or a
good.
gasoline delivery.
Let's keep walking. You got so much stuff. Okay, this buggy right here.
This was Mrs. Bunn's buggy. Mrs. Bunn was a Knightson school teacher. She lived in Byron, and she drove this to school.
Really?
From Byron to Knightson. She drove this to school, and she gave it to us.
That is fantastic.
I met her. She was a spry lady.
I bet she was. Now this right here was they would take this to Byron Springs from the railroad,
This is the
right?
Byron Hot Springs wagonette. It's called a wagonette. It's a Studebaker, 1886, I think, Studebaker. It was a mess. We restored it to make it look like this. They would take people on the benches, horse-drawn buggy, from the train station to the Byron Hot Springs.
And
back.
then this is still around, but Byron Hot Springs isn't.
Byron Hot Springs is no more, and this wouldn't have been either if we hadn't spent all that time restoring it. Yeah.
We got to get down here to Alan because Alan's going to tell us about that caboose over there and how one day I'm going to help you paint it.
Yes, we're
What is the
looking
story
into
with
that, Cody. Yes, we are. Well, the railroad that operated in this area is a very significant part of the development of this area.
Mm-hmm.
Our caboose, even though it's stenciled, which is Burlington Northern, it represents both lines. We had two lines that separated here. We have one that Burlington Northern rode on, which is actually Santa Fe line. And then we also had one that goes through Brentwood that is the Southern Pacific, but it's Union Pacific today.
Without the railroad, we wouldn't be here.
Exactly. Well, they brought in the farmers, and they also helped the farmers get their products to the cities around the United States and on the West Coast.
You've got a project. You guys want to paint that?
Yes, we do.
I'm making a commitment on TV right now. When you're ready, I want to come out and help you paint.
We'll contact you, Cody. No problem. Put a paintbrush in your hand, and we'll get it going.
Well,
but we're still researching for that.
Okay, you keep researching.
Yes.
I did flunk out of art college, so I don't know how good my painting is.
Now, funny thing about that caboose, though, is it was donated to us by Burlington Northern back in 1998, and it was brought in from Knightson. Now, 1996, Burlington Northern and Santa Fe Railroads merged to become today what is known as the BNSF. So that, though, is not representing BNSF. It's representing, like I said, the railroads that serve this county. So
I got to run, unfortunately.
Okay.
We're running out of time. The next thing we're going to show you is the old schoolhouse. You want to know what it was like going to school back in the day? We're going to show you. Coming up.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, guys.
Looking forward to it,
Looking
Cody.
forward to that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Code.
Historical Society is working hard this is going great, to preserve the artifacts as well as share a history lesson.
Make sure we save this
Thank
one
you.
to submit for the Emmys. Cody's Caravan made it to Knightson this morning to get a special history lesson.
It's time to go to school, so you got to ring the bell. Really? 1, 2, 3. There we go. Come on in. Let's go back in time. Now, this was not here, Mary. This was somewhere else, and you guys brought it here.
That is correct. This is the Eden Plains Schoolhouse, built in 1868, and it was about 2 miles over on Eden Plains Road. It was the one-room schoolhouse that served all of this area. So if you lived in this house, this is where you would walk to school.
This is where you walk to
This is
school.
where you go to school.
I just wanted to show them real quick. This was what the shape it looked like when they got it. It doesn't look like this anymore. This is perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's the work of our breakers. They restore things and bring them back to life, because we're all about bringing history to life out here.
Now, you guys have school kids tour groups here all the time.
Correct. That's correct. We actually serve all of the elementary third graders in our area for our 6 communities, and we serve about 1,600 third graders a year.
Do you
So,
really?
yeah, so in the morning they do tours of the house and outside and learn a lot of the history. And then in the afternoon, they have a lesson in the schoolhouse. They need to mind their manners to their teacher. They need to raise their hand if they'd like to speak, and they actually read all from the McGuffey Reader.
Do they really?
Yes, they do. Absolutely.
And you get the slates that they would do
Oh,
the
and
work
the
on?
slates, and they learn why it's called a slate. Do you know why it's called a slate?
Maybe, but you tell me.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Why is it called a slate?
That's because the first little slates that they wrote on were actually made from slate.
Were they really?
Yes, they were. And when they actually redid the schoolhouse on this wall, they took down some wallpaper and they found a slate board.
They did?
They did, and part of it is framed right up there on the top.
That's amazing.
And when the schoolhouse was no longer in use, someone came in, Pearl Diamond came in 1906, and she wrote, "The old schoolhouse has stood here for many a year. Its windows are broken by many a hand, but thank God its roof still stands." And so we framed that, and it's in the schoolhouse today.
I love it. I love it.
So in the afternoon, they also play games from the 1800s, so no electronics. They walk on tin can stilts, and they play with wooden toys, and they also do their chores. I was hoping you could do some chores today.
Well,
but we won't have
I'm
time.
very busy, I don't know if you can talk to my wife. I'm not good at chores. You don't want me doing those. I want everybody to come visit this.
So do
This
I.
is so amazing, and it's kind of a hidden jewel. So how can people learn more about it and to learn about times and all that stuff?
Well, they can certainly go on our website. You can just Google East Contra Costa Historical Society, and it'll come right up. It has all the times and information, address, and and when we're open. We actually opening day is April 5th on Saturday, and we will be having a pancake breakfast, we'll be having a petting zoo, we'll be having all kinds of games and activities, and making homemade ice cream.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Thank you so much for having us out
Thank
today.
you. Thank you for coming. We are so happy you're here, and we hope you enjoyed your day.
And I'm telling you, folks at home, you've got to come visit this. It's so well done. This museum is fantastic, and I learned a lot today.
Excellent.
Which I can't always say about the show. Thank you.
Excellent.
All right, there you go. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Code.